Good evening. I have the time as 7:35. Apologize for being a few minutes late here. I'm calling the public hearing and regular business meeting of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia for Monday, September 25th, 2023 to order. We do have a quorum. All council members are present. I would like to recognize our county commission for District 3. Commissioner Jasper Watkins is here with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. Also the Gwinnett DOT Director, Louis Cooksey, and then some other representatives from the county are going to present a presentation on the new Gwinnett Transit program. So I believe there was going to be a motion to amend the agenda.
Motion to amend tonight's agenda under ceremonial matters. I'm going to add item B, Proclamation 2023-16, honoring Hispanic Heritage Month.
There is a motion to amend the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. 6 in favor with none opposed. So we've amended the agenda to add that proclamation. I neglected my duties and did not ask Melissa to put it on our agenda for tonight. I will have the invocation tonight presented by Sonia Lopez, who started the first Latino Lions Club in Norcross. If you'd like to come forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. Almighty God, please guide us on this journey. I thank you for the opportunity to be here. Please give us the strength, give us the vision that we can find the best way to serve our community, to change what we need to change. Guide us that every day will be a better public servant for our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, ma'am. And now, if you'll stand, we have Reverend Louis D'Souza from the Snellville United Methodist Church to lead us in the pledge. Come forward. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
Thank you, Reverend. And now we've got 2 proclamations under ceremonial matters. The first, Proclamation 2023-15, Diamond in the Rough, LLC. Whereas Snellville-based Diamond in the Rough's vision is to impact and transform the lives of girls and families globally, while creating a unique culture that fosters community and celebrates sisterhood. And whereas Diamond in the Rough has a goal to impact and transform the lives of girls and families in a rich and powerful way. And whereas with 2 decades on the front line working with schools, churches, and the community, the organization serves as a group mentoring model for organizations around the world. And whereas the organization's award-winning programs and projects have received recognition at the highest levels and have impacted nearly 10,000 girls and families since its inception, and an additional 20,000 with indirect services. And whereas the organization's founder, Dr. Nicole Steele, has committed her life to helping empower the next generation of young girls as they transition from adolescence to womanhood, and is her belief that despite the challenges that young girls face today, when they have a true understanding of their value and tap into their full potential, they can overcome any odds and become the bright, beautiful gems God created them to be. And whereas on Saturday, September 9th, 2023, Diamond in the Rough officially kicked off its 20th year as a mentoring program. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Bender, and the City of Snellville, and the City Council of the City of Snellville, where everybody's proud to be somebody, do hereby congratulate Diamond in the Rough for mentoring and guiding young girls in Snellville and those around the world for 20 years. And if I could have Dr. or Nicole Steele come up to present, to receive.
Okay, smile, ladies. Okay, guys, I'm gonna angle over here to get out of the podium, so look this way. 1, 2, 3. One more. Thank you.
You may have noticed in that proclamation, it said September 9th, they were kicking off their 20th year. We've been trying to do this for the last month, I think, but in the city, we haven't had business on our agenda, so we've canceled the last 2 meetings. So we got it done, though.
Thank you, thank you.
And next, we have Proclamation 2023-16, honoring Hispanic Heritage Month. From September 15th to October 15th. Whereas each year the United States observes National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the culture, heritage, and countless contributions of those whose ancestors were indigenous to North America, including Mexico, as well as those who came from Central America, South America, Spain, and the Caribbean. And whereas what began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending October 15th. And whereas the date September 15th is significant because it's the anniversary of independence for the Latin American countries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Additionally, Mexico and Chile celebrate their Independence Days on September 16th and 18th, respectively. And whereas this year's theme, Latinos Driving Prosperity, Power, and Progress in America, encourages us all to connect with Hispanic heritage and focus on the themes of prosperity, power, and progress, recognizing the significant strides of Hispanics in the economic, political, and social growth of the U.S. And whereas the Hispanic population of the United States is now 62.1 million, constituting 18.7% of the total population in Gwinnett County. The Hispanic population is now greater than 195,000, constituting 22% of our county population. And whereas in the city of Snellville, the Hispanic population represents a wide range of nationalities and backgrounds, all of whom make a positive contribution to educational, nonprofit, government, and business sectors, which reflect the remarkable diversity of the American people. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Barbara Bender, Mayor of the City of Snellville, where everybody's proud to be somebody, do hereby join with the City Council and the citizens of Snellville to honor Hispanic Heritage Month and to encourage all residents to celebrate our unique and vibrant history and recommit ourselves to a shared future of healthy, peaceful, safe, and sustainable communities for all. Proclaim this 25th day of September. And Reverend Louis D'Souza, from the leader of the Hispanic community at the Snellville United Methodist Church, is here to receive the proclamation. Now we will move on to the minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes of the August 14th, 2023 meetings and the September 11th, 2023 specially called meeting for the appeal hearings of the application for license to sell alcoholic beverages by the package.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. And now we have several invited guests tonight, and we're going to start with Gwinnett County Department of Transportation. They're going to provide a transit update because I don't know if you've seen the new buses floating around, but we've had some changes here in the city. China?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is China Thomas, and I serve as the director of our Capital Transit Program in the Department of Transportation for Gwinnett County. To Mayor Bender and the council, thank you all for having us today. Look forward to sharing just a few updates on what we have going on with Ride Gwinnett. Join with me today, I have Commissioner Jasper Watkins, our DOT Director Louis Cooksey, and Natasha Tyler, our Transit Division Director. This year, we have kicked off Ride Gwinnett with the expansion of transit services. By the end of this year, we will have expanded our local route services by 3 routes, and we have online now 2 microtransit zones, which I will be talking about in just a minute. So some may ask, what was the reason for this transit expansion? As Mayor Benders just mentioned, that we have a very growing population here in Gwinnett County, and it's time for us to start expanding our transit services to give our residents alternative options. I'm gonna hop right into it. So on August 28th, Ride Gwinnett, we rolled out the microtransit zone here in Snellville. So back in 2018, the microtransit zone was actually piloted. And as I understand it, people were really excited about this microtransit zone. And so what is it? It is a zone-based system where there's a vehicle that typically holds roughly 12 customers and up to 2 mobility devices. And a person can simply download the Ride Gwinnett app, put in the location that they currently are, and then the location that they like to go to. So some of the areas that the microtransit zone is serving here in Snellville is the One Stop, the Senior Center, as well as the Shops at WebGen. The Shops at WebGen. And so we have heard really great and exciting things about the transit service. It is $3, pretty inexpensive when you compare it to some of the private partners, if you will. The service, it operates Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily. So just a little bit about what we've heard about the service so far. So far we've heard, when does it come into our area? And so it's really nice to be able to offer the residents here in Snellville this option, because prior to this, there was no option, for the residents here at Snellville. So it's really nice to be able to offer the microtransit service. And so to pair with the microtransit system, we also have I mentioned earlier, we have 3 new routes that are coming online. Well, 1 in November and then 2 in August. So we have Route 70 that starts in downtown Snellville and takes Route 78 into the Indian Creek MARTA station. And so people now have the option to come into our county and then go out of our county. What I really enjoy about Route 70, again, is because it gives people that alternate mode. They can, park their cars and just use the microtransit services to hop right onto Route 70. One other thing that I do want to highlight about microtransit is it helps when residents want to get, we often say first mile, last mile connectivity, but what that really means is it helps residents to get to those bus stops without them having the need to walk and get to that fixed route system. And so the other item that I want to share with you is last Tuesday, the Board of Commissioners, they approved our transit development plan. And so our transit development plan is a planning effort that we have been doing for 18 months, and we needed to understand and study what are some transit options that we need to start looking at, because over the next 25 years, we'll have upward of 500 more residents planned to come here to Gwinnett. And so within this 30-year plan, there's a few modes that I'm going to be talking about, but one of which is microtransit. Okay, so I'll give a little bit of education about the types of modes that we'll be seeing inside the Transit Development Plan. I might say TDP, but Transit Development Plan. So for the shared ride is equivalent to our microtransit service, which we currently have here in Snellville today. Then we have the county ride, which serves as a fixed route type of service where you have your regular bus stops with your regular time schedule. We have the quick ride, which is equivalent to a bus rapid transit light, if you will, and is typically coupled with technologies such as transit signal priority and or queue jumps. So just to give a context to what that is starting with transit signal priority. That means that you have vehicles that are communicating with your traffic lights in order for that vehicle, that bus, to move forward. And then on your queue jumps, it's a dedicated spacing, but it is bus-only lane to help buses to move past traffic. Then we have our rapid ride. Our rapid ride is bus rapid transit, and it typically comes with stations along the corridor, as well as transit-oriented development styles. And then lastly, as we engage with the community, one of the things that we heard a lot of is, when will we be able to get from Gwinnett County to the Hartsfield-Jackson Airport? And so the last mode of service that we are looking at is the airport ride. So here what you see before you, this is the shared ride implementation map. I do want to sit here for just a second because on the shared ride services, this is the foundation of our plan. And as you can see, I'll start with all the color that you see. So as you can see, Gwinnett County, the entire map is filled with some form of color. And starting with 2023, those are in purple, we rolled out the Lawrenceville and the Snellville areas. And so that would be followed by areas such as Beaufort, Sewanee, Sugar Hill. But I really just want to point out that the entire county would be covered with this style of service. And something that we heard from the community is, as you guys are working toward these type of planning efforts, share something with us that we can actually see. Share something that I can actually use. And so with that, this is our leading effort for doing exactly what residents said, is starting out with things that they could actually see, and then couple that with some of the more longer term routing that you'll see on the next screen. Lastly, on the rideshare screen, on the rideshare map, the goal is for us to roll this out in the first 10 years of the 30-year plan. So I do want to emphasize is to roll out the entire zone, all the zones, in the first 10 years of planning. Next, we have the proposed service, and so I'll just be really brief here. I don't know if you guys can sit on your screens, but the blue represents the county ride, which I mentioned is more fixed route style of service. The more orange or goldish is the quick ride service, and then the rapid ride is the one that you see in red. And so I do want to highlight the one in red for just a second, because it is 25 miles of bus rapid transit service. And one of the questions that we heard is, well, what about rail? Why can't we have rail? So again, just going back to what we heard from the public, and that's how do we deliver to our residents and what they can see? And for us, that would be rolling this out in the first 10 years of planning. So the BRT would go from the city of Lawrenceville, and it would end at the Doraville MARTA station. So to highlight just a few areas along the corridor would be Northside Hospital, Gwinnett College, OFS, and some of our transit transfer facilities. Also within this plan, you see the small little circles with left and right arrows. Those serve as transit transfer facilities, and so those would be locations where residents can park their cars, and primarily to use as a connecting point when you want to get to other routes. And with that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, China. We really, really appreciate the county being here tonight. And as you saw, there is a website that you can go to if you want more detailed information. And I was Googling it over the weekend. If you just type in Gwinnett Transit, it will come up. But we appreciate you, Commissioner, being here, and Mr. Cooksey, and Natasha, and then China as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. Now we have another invited guest. We have Bobby Howard to come and give us an update on the cop cab.
Well, thank you. Mayor, council, administrative staff, thank you all for having me up here tonight. I want to talk to you a little bit about the little car sitting out in front of City Hall tonight. I hope most of you have seen the car. That journey started almost 10 years ago. Now, actually, it did start 10 years ago. The car has actually been on the road for 9.5 years. It's been an incredible experience for me to be able to do that. When I was on this council in 2013, I began to wonder what could I do for my part for our city. And the backstory of the car is when I was 16 years old in 1975, I was underage drinking, I was driving too fast, and nothing but the Lord God saved me from being dead right now, because I ended up turning that car over 3 times end over end, and I had just dropped off my best friend. I don't know if either one of us would have made it, but I crawled out of it upside down. So the car is a heart of why I do what I do. And so for the last 9.5 years, I have spent my own personal time. People have volunteered their money from their business accounts, from their personal accounts, to fund this automobile. This automobile was donated by the police department when it went out of service. It was going to be surplused anyway. So that piece of it was donated. That car, 100% has been supported by the love and care of businesses in this city and not in this city and the people of this city. And I could absolutely not say thank you enough for that for the past 10 years. Anything we've needed to do the car, people have stepped up, the community stepped up, and we have done tremendous, tremendous things with that car. We've gone to Boy Scout events, we've gone to Girl Scout events, we've gone to other cities, the city of Lilburn, Lawrenceville, the city of Grayson, all of our local cities. I've actually met with all 4 other cars that are like it in the state. The difference in those cars is their police departments operate those, and they're not nearly set up as a visual deterrent to drinking and driving as our car is. And I want to publicly thank Kathy Emanuel. She was the brains of the graphics on the car. It was a lot of my idea. I kind of wanted it to look like a NASCAR. I think she pulled it off. But it has been an absolute joy to have this car at all the city events, all throughout the state of Georgia, and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety has sponsored the car as well. So for me to hear the idea that the city pays for the car was troubling. And I wanted to make sure that everybody knows. And with 3 clicks on a mouse on the website for the car, you can learn that information. So it has just been a blessing to me to be able to share that and to get a story from a mother that has brought their child to a council meeting when we were doing this. And when I actually set the car in motion was May of 2014. And when I would be talking about it at a council meeting, I would get an email or I'd get a call. I had my child at the council meeting and they asked me about the message of the car. And the message of the car is clear. Choose your ride. It is so simple, it is so easy, but we still have a tremendous problem with over at least 200 violations being written so far this year for drinking and driving. Or if I could say, it's also impaired driving. It doesn't always have to be alcohol. It can be drugs. But I'm a survivor of a car that turned over 3 times, and I shouldn't have walked away. And I got that trip to the hospital with the police officer in tow to draw my blood, and then to get put in the back of the police car and go to the local jail in the county where I was at. All but for the grace of God am I still standing here. So roughly 25 events during the year on average, some are more, some are less, I've done with this vehicle over the last 10 years. Any event can run anywhere from 2 hours to all day or even 6 hours. So as a rough estimate, over the last 10 years of my own personal time, nearly 1,500 hours have been dedicated to making that message a prominent and sole number of things they want to see. And I'm just going to read 2 things and I'm going to complete my talk. On the hood of the car, there is the actual, what I would call the goal and what the message is. The mission statement and the goal. And the mission statement is to use this community-sponsored vehicle, and I emphasize community-sponsored vehicle, to promote awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving, to increase the awareness of the cost that drinking and driving can be to the individual and the community in both money and, far more importantly, lives. And the goal that I set for the car is to prevent drivers from drinking and then getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. Even if one person stops, thinks, and chooses an alternative, we have achieved our goal. And ladies and gentlemen, I think over the past 10 years we have achieved that goal. I couldn't be more proud of that car and what that car has represented and what this community has done to make that car a reality. Truth be known, without our community, that car would not exist. It just simply wouldn't. So, community, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. And there is just one clarification on the cost of the car that I would like to make, is that that car is in the vehicle pool for the city, for all the vehicles that we own, and so the city does, included in that, the city does pay the insurance on the car, but other than that, it is completely funded by the donations that Mr. Howard receives. And now we have our third invited guest for tonight, Ms. Sonia Lopez, who also did the invocation tonight. Councilwoman DeStang, did you want to say anything to introduce her?
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here and share some of my culture. I want to go back to 1968 and thanks the Congress and Lindley President Johnson for the opportunity to be here and recognize our culture, our hard work. I want to go back to 1988 when President Ronald Reagan, extended Hispanic heritage, instead of being 1 week for 1 month, which is a large opportunity for us to share with you our diversity culture, our food, our costumes, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to be in this country. This means a lot to me, especially to me. I came when I was 13 years old. I got married, got my kids. I have 3 children, professional. I have 3 grandkids. And I know everything is possible when you have the opportunity. So I'm very thankful to this country to recognize our people, our hardworking people, our culture, to give us the opportunity to share with you where we came from, to show you, to teach you our folkloric dancings, our food. Thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. It's a great honor for me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez, for sharing your story with us tonight. Councilwoman DeStang.
Señor López, yo quiero decirte gracias por venir aquí y para entregar la invocación para nosotros y para presentar también información de los sobre la herencia hispánica. Gracias por todas las cosas que tú estás haciendo, gracias por tus hijos, gracias que tú tienes oportunidad para ser aquí en nuestro país, en América. Gracias por todo. Y tu servicio también. Gracias, Señor.
And now, moving on, we have no committee or department reports tonight, so we'll move to the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion? I guess we've already approved the agenda, haven't we?
Motion.
Yes, we'll skip that part, since we amended the agenda earlier.
Okay.
Okay, we have nothing under public hearing, consent agenda, or old business, so we have 3 items under new business. The first is my nomination of Dale Stanley to the Parks and Recreation Board for Post 1 with a term expiration date of June 1st of 2025. And I'll ask the council to ask them for their confirmation. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor and none opposed. Mr. Stanley was out of town tonight, so he couldn't be here for that, but we'll get him sworn in at some point in the near future. We have item B, consideration and action on approval of a 3-year lease agreement with Christmas Decor for leasing of Christmas decorations. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the mayor signing an agreement with Christmas Decor after approval from the city attorney for an amount not to exceed $92,078. That sum of $92,078 is per year.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion by council on what we're doing? Ms. Lindsay?
Just wanted to say thank you for the individuals who worked on this committee. Kelly McAloon, who always seems to make things pop when it comes to decor. Gretchen Schultz, you will never outwork her. And Public Works Department also played a huge role in helping us get to the best decision that we could possibly bring to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 5 in favor. Any opposed? None opposed. Any? I know. I didn't see Solange. But you're not in opposition, so you're abstaining?
Yes.
And 1 abstention. And we have item C, consideration and action on intergovernmental agreement with Gwinnett County for a lease of the 2nd floor of the Elizabeth Williams Library. This is a lease that we're signing with Gwinnett County. They are leasing, Gwinnett County actually owns the building that is the library building, and the city is leasing the 2nd floor from them. It will be a 50-year lease for $1 a year, and and so this is just cementing the agreement that we have for this lease. So with that explanation, is there a motion?
Motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Gwinnett County for the lease of the 2nd floor of the Elizabeth Williams Library in the amount not to exceed $1 per year.
There is a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor, so none are opposed. With that, that closes all of our regular business meetings, so we'll move to council reports, and we'll start with Councilmember Solange Destang.
Yes, hello everyone. This past weekend, I attended our last concert of the year. The concert was well received by our community. As your city council one vote, I have tried to promote more inclusive concerts, though it is not where I wish it to be. I would like to see concerts that are representative of all our cultures in the city, not just 2 cultures. This past weekend proved that when we are more inclusive of our cultural events, people come out. They came out in masses. If I'm re-elected, one of my priorities will continue to be to represent inclusiveness with our concerts. This being Hispanic Cultural Month, we should have had a Hispanic and or Latino concert. That's why it is important to go out and early vote or to vote November 7. So you can choose city council members that are representatives of your ideals. I will end with this note, that if you are not registered to vote, so please do so soon. Registration deadline is October 10th. Early voting dates are October 16th through November 3rd, and the voting date is November 7th. And again, I want to say to Senora Lopez, gracias para venir. And I want to wish all of you a wonderful evening further. Get home safe and stay blessed. Until I see you again in 2 weeks, okay? Take care.
Thank you, Solange. Councilmember Linsky?
We have had so many exciting openings, ribbon cuttings going on in the city for the past few months. Miller's Ale House, I hope you've been by there. Excellent food and beverages, of course. City Barbecue, another great place to go. This week, we'll have Northside outpatient, I guess, surgical buildings are going to be opening on Wednesday. The ribbon cutting at 3 p.m. Our magnificent library last week. I so wish I could have been there for the ribbon cutting. That was the project of former Mayor Tom Witz. We've been working so hard to get this right, to get just the incredible balance that brings to our town center. If you have not stopped by, it is an absolute magnificent showpiece and a point of pride. So please do stop by as soon as you can. Tomorrow, if possible. Okay. And thank you all for coming out tonight. Have a safe drive home.
Thank you, Christy. And Councilmember Gretchen Schultz.
Yes, Ms. Linsky was very gracious in thanking those of us that served on the Christmas Day Core Committee, but I do want to emphasize she provided magnificent leadership for that group. She communicated with all the various vendors we talked to. She coordinated schedules. She developed spreadsheets. She was wonderful in the organization of our group, and I just want to give her a compliment on what she did for that group. And I think you all will be pleased come November or so, when you start to see some new pole mounts in the city. You'll be very pleased. It will look much brighter this year than it has in years past. One other thing that I wanted to report on, as some of you know, our community gardeners had their plant sale at the farmers market 2 weeks ago, and with their fall plant sale, they raised a total of $1,770, which we were very pleased with, because the money they raise is largely what is used to support the community garden. There are no tax funds that are used for that garden. And I just wanted to read an email to you that we received from another master gardener, not one who works with our community garden, but he works with another senior center garden. And he wrote, "I'm so grateful to work with folks who are sincere, who love what they do, and who are generous of heart. A team of my fellow master gardener colleagues and their friends are all that and more." And he is referring to our team at our community garden when he says that. Thank you for consistently educating others in the art of gardening and nurturing plants from seed so that others can afford to grow veggies and flowers without breaking the bank. He said, "I picked up my order at today's fall sale for the senior center garden I manage and for my personal use." He says, "I'm very grateful." And I did want to point out, when he talks about that vegetables were very affordable. Our gardeners sell them for $2 for a 4-pack. And I was at a local big box store this past weekend to get a couple plants that our gardeners didn't have for sale, and I think a 4-pack was $6.98, so there's a huge difference in price. But I just wanted to share that because their efforts are so appreciated. And not only do we appreciate what they do, they just have a great time together. They just enjoy each other. They've all become very good friends, and they're very, very dedicated to the work that they do at the garden. So thank you, and thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you, Gretchen. Councilmember Dave Emanuel.
Thank you. I'd like to emphasize a few things that Bobby Howard said. A lot of years ago, I went on a ride with him, and the response was literally amazing. People came over to the car, and it definitely has made a difference. It's made an impact, and it's been very positive, and I know he spent a lot of time and sweat in it, and I want to thank him, and I think a round of applause would be appropriate. And regarding the Christmas decorations, again, Christy, Gretchen, and Kelly did an outstanding job, and I think it shows what happens when you get council members who work together for the benefit of the whole community. And they did just an outstanding job. There was a lot of work, and of course, Christy's like the, I don't know, the list Nazi. She has lists for everything, but she's tremendously organized, and that makes everything she does very well done, procedurally efficient, and really does an excellent job. And as for the library, just want to reinforce what's been said before. If you haven't been there, it is outstanding. And when you go in, when you look at it from the outside and you go in from the inside, you're going to think, this isn't a library. Because it's that different, it's that unique, and it's that well done. And we were at a Gwinnett Municipal Association meeting several years ago, and each of the cities was showing their libraries, or the library group was showing their libraries, and everybody kind of sat there just almost dozing off. And then when they said, here's Snellville's library, there were gasps and smiles, and it's that different and that unique and that well done. So I want to thank everybody involved in that for just making it absolutely a great building. And if you haven't seen them, we have 2 statues of the founders of Snellville there. You can go sit down, get your picture taken with them, and enjoy some of Snellville history. Thank you all for coming tonight, and have a safe ride home.
Thank you, Dave. Mayor Pro Tem Warner.
Well, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. This is the biggest crowd we've had actually stay to the end of a meeting, and I can't tell you how long. I'm kind of afraid to see what happens when we adjourn. Wanted to cover a couple things about the microtransit that Gwinnett County came and talked to us about tonight. We did a test for the county on that back in 2018. And one of the things that that test did was they were working on software. The company that's behind the actual operation of the microtransit part of that was using some components of AI to monitor where people were being picked up, and so they could route between the various pickup points as rapidly as possible and be as efficient as possible in dropping off. So if 5 different people go on the app within the same 10 minutes, the software will actually tell them where to go first, where to go second, who to drop off, so everybody spends as little time as possible on that van. The most important thing is that van is not in your way, and it takes up as little space in our extremely busy roadways. Because the last thing any of us want to do is sit behind a bus that's 90% empty, that always seems to stop right when the light turns green. So microtransit solves that problem. I have a father who within the next 15 days is going to turn 90 years old. He's great. He still drives. Kind of scary, but he does. One of the things that comes up is the maintenance on his car, particularly paying for insurance. As you get older, evidently, they think you're 16 years old again, and your insurance rates go up. So I am working really hard to get my father to start using the microtransit, because that way I won't have to worry about him or any of y'all out on the roadway, but it'll also be such a savings for him because, quite frankly, to go to the bird feed store and go to Kroger 3 times a week, you really don't need your own car. It also services our medical facilities, so some of us, hopefully, will start to move away from our vehicles. They're also using the data from that to generate, hopefully, autonomous vehicles. So they will be able to use that database to move even more things forward. Like the rest of my council members, I really want to thank Ms. Linsky and the rest of the committee that worked on Christmas lights. That sounds just like a throwaway, but we are funding that project with dollars that are generated by stays at our hotels and motels. So that money goes for our events, goes for other things. The city manager has caught a lot of heat over the last couple of years for holding some of that money back, because we were like, oh no, more for the events, more for the events. Well, it turns out the man is actually more intelligent than any of us ever give him credit for, because that money is now going to fund some Christmas lights that are going to bring joy to you and your children. And as the second largest retail node in Gwinnett County, I bet a lot of y'all didn't know that. I say it a lot, but people don't pick up on it. We're only second to the Mall of Georgia. That's why we got microtransit, because we need it. So next time you go shopping, even if you want to drive your car over to Target, well, from Target, if you want to go down to Sam's Club, get on the app, use a microtransit, have them drive you around. Save the wear and tear on both your mental capacity and on your car, and utilize that. And evidently I'm finished. Thank you very much for coming out. It's really great to see y'all.
Thank you, Todd. And now for the mayor's report, just a couple of short things. I won't repeat everything that's already been said. I did have the opportunity on Saturday to do 2 things. One, there's a group called the Good Fellas of Gwinnett, or a few Good Fellas of Gwinnett, and they sponsored a sickle cell 5K walk that was held at T.W. Briscoe Park. And I went over there Saturday morning before they got started and just said a few words and met a lot of people there that were there for the walk and the sponsors. They had the Life South blood bus out there to take blood donations as well. And it was a well put together event, and I look forward to that event growing. It was the first time they had done this walk for for sickle cell awareness. But it was, like I said, it was just really great getting to meet all of the people that are part of that organization. I also did something that was way outside my comfort zone. I went down to, there's a new boxing club. It's the Eastside Boxing Club. And it is located down off at Hewitt Road, so just outside the city. But Coach Rod Bridges, who runs that facility, had emailed me back earlier in the year, and I've been meaning to get down there to see what he had going on. But they do boxing school programs, after-school programs, from 5 years up through teenage years. And they also have adults as well that box. Saturday, they did, it was a sanctioned boxing event, and I'm going to stumble over my words because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But there were boxers from all over the state, all different age groups that were there and boxing in a sanctioned event. So they were being scored, and then they had winners that were for each match. So he's got an industrial type building, like a warehouse type building, and he's got it's a huge boxing ring in the middle. I told him, I said, I am so outside my comfort zone being here with boxing. It's just not a sport that I've ever been around growing up. But really fabulous things going on in this community. So a shout out to Coach Rod Bridges for what he's doing, him and his wife, and say some prayers. Their oldest daughter, and I didn't have her name, but left to go into the Marine Corps yesterday. So, we've got young people stepping up to serve this country, and it's just wonderful, and if you'll just pray for them. With that, I will close my mayor's report, and then we will open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to say something, please come up, give your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes on one topic, please. Seeing no one, then I will close public comment and entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, someone's phone is up here? Just whoever was up here speaking is someone's phone? Oh, okay. How you doing, baby? Good, love. Good to see you. Hello, council. Good evening to everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for the information about the cop car. Really appreciate that. I understand.
Ms. Hardrick, just officially name and
I
address,
always got to
please.
remind me that every single time. Catherine Hardrick, 2280 Buckley Trail. I am so sorry.
That's all right, thank you.
I do that every single time. So, thank you for the information about the cop car. I feel like that was a special presentation for me, so I received that. Thank you so very much. My question about the cop car, whether it was tax dollars or privately funded dollars, was a genuine question, a question that I responded because our pro tem mayor on August the 14th said that it was funded by the Snellville Citizens Police Academy, and I was a bit confused. And as a citizen, as a taxpayer, aside from me running for office, I'm still a taxpayer, and I should be able to ask questions. In fact, all of us in the city of Snellville and beyond should be able to ask questions without being bullied on social media, claiming that I'm accusing the city council for misappropriating tax dollars. I'm not doing that. I would never do that without facts. I was just asking a healthy question just because you said on August 14th that it was funded. And I mean, we were corrected because the mayor then said it was a nonprofit, and then Ms. Emanuel said it was privately funded. And then Mr. Butch sent me an email giving me further information about it. So my answers were given to me and clarified. But we should not be bullied for asking questions. That's what we should welcome. It's called accountability and transparency. I'm still a taxpayer. Although I am a candidate, I'm still a taxpayer. Thank you so very much to the council and the citizens of Snellville. May we always ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and esteemed City Council. My name is Norman Carter. I reside at 2777 Nathaniel Way in Grayson, Georgia. Hope to self-serving, but I have a twice monthly radio broadcast on WCEGTalkRadio.com. I'd like for everyone in Snellville to take some time this week to go to WCEGTalkRadio.com. Today, I featured the parents of Specialist NTN Murphy, who we have a banner for on Oak Road. They complimented Ms. Kelly McAloon for all of her help in getting the banner placed and for his name being placed on the plaque on the Veterans Wall. And I think it would be, I think it's imperative that all of us from Snellville hear their story. We've seen the flag, but to actually hear their story, I will tell you that their father, Calvin, is still suffering greatly. And you'll see all that if you watch the program. I think it's very interesting. We also had State Representative Bronoff from over in Riverdale, and they're going to get together and get a project that will be for the benefit of veterans and Gold Star families. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. It's been a while since I've been here.
If you'll just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Carol Maldonado, 3631 Chamblee Tucker Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30341. It's been a while since I've been here, so I'm kind of nervous, but I remember the clock. I like to claim that the clock was instituted because of me. I used to be a resident of the city, within the city limits of Snellville, but I went to Florida, New York, South Georgia for work, all around the nation and back, right? And coming back, I was delighted to see everything that's happening in the city and around the city, so much so that I wanted to come back to the city of Snellville. But first, let me say two things that I'm excited about before I say the things that I'm worried about. The two things is the microtransit. Before I left, it was something that I really desired to see come about. And now that I'm back, I am just so overelated to see it. So I'm super excited. I saw the bus at Briscoe Park that I spend a lot of time at. And I took a picture, I talked to the driver, I was so excited, and I've seen it in other areas around the city, and I'm just really, really super excited. Now about the library, I'm a big library rat, me, my brother, and others, and now I don't have to go to Lilburn Library anymore. The Snellville, the other library there by Briscoe Park was kind of outdated and stuff, but the Lilburn Library was just so nice, and I would go there to work often and stuff, but now I can go to the Snellville Library, or I got 2.5. Okay, so about the things that I'm worried about. So I had to sell my house when I left within the city limits. And now I came back and I was not able to buy a house in the city. I had to buy a house outside the city. And so it's like, okay, where's our affordable housing? So that's a thought that I'd like to leave with you, the city council. What are your considerations for affordable housing? Because there's no affordable housing even for our professionals, for our cops, for our teachers. It doesn't exist. And these are people in our community that we care about, don't we? The income for a police officer, a school teacher, is not enough to obtain a mortgage for a home at these home prices. So that's one of my concerns. The other of my concerns is now that I live outside the city limits, but I'm always in the city of Snellville because I love it so much, right? I noticed a problem, and the problem or a concern of mine that I would like you all to think about and maybe discuss it at future city council meetings is the police. I feel like there's speed traps right on the border of the city limits. And it's in an area where I feel like there's some kind of disparity because I don't see speed traps in other places like we're at the intersection of Web Gin or the intersection of Summit Chase. It's at an area where a lot of people like me traverse. So I'm concerned about that, and I would like you all to give consideration to that. Another thing that concerns me, and it's the final thing, is the requirement to give PII, personally identifiable information, and ordinance in this city, because with everything that's happening around us, is it really prudent to require us to give our personal address when we come forward? So that's another thing that I'm concerned about. 3 things I'm concerned about. Everything else I'm very happy about, and I look forward to being a participant in this wonderful community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That is 6 in favor with none opposed. Thank you all for coming out tonight.